Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and what a pretty interesting edition of Smackdown this was. But we've got some things to talk about. The show. Should I really tell you guys how the show starts? I mean, you guys know how the show starts. It always starts off with Roman Reigns. This is pretty much your everyday opening when it comes to SmackDown. Oh, Roman Reigns kicks off the show. Roman says his usual, and then someone interrupts. And that someone that interrupted was Daniel Bryan. Now, Daniel Bryan, he made a claim that he deserves a Universal Championship match. So he made the challenge to Roman Reigns at Fastlane. But he had to beat Jey Uso to do so. Then we had Rey and Dominic Mysterio take on the Blue Collar Working Man and Chad Gable, Otis. So Otis is now officially a heel, and you know, I'm willing to give this a chance. Even though in my last review I said there was really no motivation for his heel turn, I believe there really wasn't much there wasn't, but I'm willing to give it a chance. I'm thinking maybe this helps Otis. You know, this could help him. This could very well help him in the long run. Like, it could turn him into, you know, the monster that we believe he can be. But his babyface character was basically a shy guy. Get it? Shy guy. Like those bad guys from Mario. But, yeah, I'm just thinking, you know, maybe they could make him more of a monstrous heel. Like, who knows? Like, who knows, really? But I'm willing to give it a turn. I'm really willing to give it some time. And speaking of heel turns that I am going to be giving a chance, we had Apollo come to the ring, and Apollo has debuted a new look. He's got a new look now. He's got a big scarf, a green and white scarf, and he's also got green and black pants with Apollo Crews written on his pants. And he comes out with, I can't really call this new, because he never really had a character. For the past 5 years, Apollo Crews has never had a character. He was just a guy that just loved to smile. He was just a smiley babyface. That's really all that Apollo Crews was. He had no character. He to me, I feel like he had a personality and charisma, but if you've got no character, then you normally don't have charisma or a personality. But Apollo just lacked something when he was a face. He just lacked something when he was a babyface. And now that he's a heel, we now witness Apollo Crews actually having a character. Yes, Apollo Crews now officially has a character. He is he is channeling his inner Nereidian roots. I'm sorry if I pronounced that country name wrong. I really do apologize for butchering it. And he also showed Big E the steel, and that indeed he did. And also his new colors are basically, and the new colors, like I said, the white and green that he was wearing, is basically wealth, dominance, and power. And honestly, and he's also claiming to be and he's also claiming this is the real Apollo Crews, and he's also calling himself a real African American. So yeah, that's basically Apollo's character, and I don't mind it. I don't mind it because he now has something. He now has a character that he can portray. He's now got a character he can portray, and to me, this helps. It helps so much to have a character. It just helps. It gives you TV time. It gives you a push. This is something that Ember Moon lacks. And you've heard me talk about Ember Moon before. I've said she's got no character, no personality, and no charisma. Like, there's nothing about her. There's nothing about her that makes me want to cheer for her. So, this is the same thing here with Apollo. I like Apollo. I liked Apollo even though he didn't have a character. But he just needed something. And this new character, this new Agean character that he's portraying, as I said, I apologize if I'm butchering it wrong, but this new character helps. This helps him greatly. It helps him greatly, and it helps him to get over. Now that he has something that he can use, he now has a meaning. His character has meaning. Wealth, dominance, power. He now has something that he can utilize. He's been on the main roster for basically 5 years. 5 years this guy has been on the main roster, and finally he has something. He has something he can utilize. He has something that he can portray. And I'm all for it. I am all for this new Apollo Crews. Or the real Apollo Crews, I should say. I'm really all for this new Apollo Crews, and we'll see how this goes. So I'm willing to give this a chance. And we'll see how it goes. So Crews would win with an angle slam. He would do an angle slam like maneuver to get the victory. He would use his scarf as for leverage. He would use it for leverage to gain the upper hand on Shinsuke Nakamura. And Apollo basically beat Shinsuke here, and I don't have a problem with Shinsuke Nakamura taking the L here. I mean, it makes perfect sense. Why would you have Apollo Crews with his new character take the L here? People will complain, oh, Shinsuke Nakamura is buried or whatever. People will complain that he's buried. But you gotta understand here. Why have the new Apollo Crews lose? Why would you have Apollo Crews lose? He just debuted his new character. Why should he take an L to Shinsuke Nakamura just because Shinsuke Nakamura needs to be built up? That's something I do not understand. Yes, they could have picked somebody else. Who else have they got? Wesley Blake? Where the hell's he been? This guy is forever off television. You want them to throw Murphy out there? You want them to throw Murphy to the ring? Just to treat Murphy as a jobber and a joke? Just to lose to Apollo Crews? To me, Shinsuke made sense because he was a part of Apollo's heel turn. So to me, I feel like we're going to get a triple threat at WrestleMania with Big E, Apollo, and Nakamura. And I feel like that is the perfect time to give the title to Apollo. I feel like that's the perfect time to do it. WrestleMania is the perfect time to give Apollo the Intercontinental Championship. This new character needs to become Intercontinental Champion to really push the narrative of this new character. You need to have Apollo become the champion to push this new, morale, or this new push the new morale of this character. So I'm very looking forward to what Apollo will bring to the table with this new character. So then we had Liv Morgan take on Tamina, the only women's match. This was actually pretty decent. And Tamina would debut a new move. I think she used it last week, but Tamina Snuka has used this new move, and I actually do not mind it. I actually do not mind this new move she's debuting. She's debuted. It makes Tamina look, it makes Tamina look dominant. Hey, it's definitely, I will say this. Yes, I know it may annoy some people that Liv Morgan is losing to Tamina Snuka, but let me just say this. This new finishing move that Tamina is using is a far improvement over her doing the Superfly Snuka Splash. Because God, was Tamina awful at doing the splash. Tamina was so bad at doing the Superfly Splash. So, you can kind of complain all you want, but in reality I'm like, well, at least this new move is an improvement. I consider this new move an improvement. I consider it an improvement finishing maneuver. At least we don't have to see her watch. At least we don't have to watch her land on her feet every time she does the bloody Superfly Splash. So, in my opinion, this new finisher that Tamina is using, much better than her previous one. Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, they had a segment, and Bianca made her choice on who she's choosing at WrestleMania. Gee, I can only wonder who she was picking. I can only imagine. It's so unpredictable. I have no idea who Bianca Belair is going to choose at WrestleMania. Who could possibly guess? Is she going to pick Asuka? Or is she going to pick Sasha Banks? Or is she going to pick... Oh, wait, she wasn't an option. Io Shirai wasn't an option. Why? Before I get to the obvious of what Bianca did here, because it's so blatantly obvious who she picked at WrestleMania, as we all know, can I ask why wasn't Io Shirai an option for Bianca Belair to choose at WrestleMania? So Charlotte Flair picked Rhea Ripley last year. Charlotte picked Rhea Ripley last year. Think about that. Charlotte picked Rhea last year. Edge, this year, he had Finn Balor as an option. He went to NXT and he teased a match with Finn Balor. He teased that he could choose Finn Balor at WrestleMania. So explain to me why Io Shirai wasn't an option for Bianca? Can someone explain that to me? Why wasn't Io Shirai shown on the graphic for who Bianca could choose? I don't get it. How come Edge was allowed to How come Edge was allowed to tease a match with Finn Balor, and Charlotte was able to pick Rhea last year, but Bianca couldn't pick Io this year? Now, I get it. She was never going to pick Io. I understand. She was never going to pick Io, but Edge was never going to pick Finn Balor either. He was never going to pick Finn Balor. So how come Edge was allowed to potentially tease a match with Finn Balor, but Bianca Belair couldn't have Io Shirai as an option? I think that's ridiculous. I think that is ridiculous. I think that is stupid. Edge was allowed to choose... Edge had teased a match with Finn Balor, so surely Bianca could have been allowed to pick Io. Charlotte, like I said, Charlotte picked Rhea last year, and she was the NXT Women's Champion last year, but But no, apparently this year the NXT Women's Championship shouldn't be selected. Why? Was it because it was selected last year, so you can't pick it again this year? What if people wanted to pick the NXT Women's Championship? What if Bianca Belair wanted to pick Io Shirai? What if she wanted to pick Io Shirai, so then she could actually win that championship? Not including Io Shirai. Now, like I said, she was never going to pick Io Shirai. She was always picking Sasha Banks regardless. She was always going to pick Sasha Banks regardless. You could have even put Kaylee Ray. You could have had Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray on that graphic, and Bianca Belair would have still picked Sasha Banks. She was picking Sasha Banks regardless who you had on that graphic. So what was the entire point? We knew who Bianca was picking. We knew she was going to pick Sasha. And there's no reason to have Reginald constantly interfering, and there's no reason for Reginald to be a part of these segments. Why is Reginald even hanging around these two? What are they doing with Reginald? I don't understand this whole Reginald thing. What, are they starting an angle where Reginald has a crush on Sasha Banks now? He is Carmella's Chevalier. Are they seriously going to include Carmella to the match at WrestleMania? I mean, can't you see it coming a mile away? Can't you see it coming a mile away that they're going to find a way to include Carmella? Why would you have Reginald constantly come out? Why would you constantly have Reginald constantly come to the ring every single time when Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair are in the ring, and you're having him play the peacekeeper or try to play as the if you pick Sasha Banks, it is foolish. Basically Reginald was trying to prevent Bianca from picking Sasha just so then Carmella could get a turn. To me, that's how I look at it. To me, I look at it as Reginald was trying to prevent Bianca from choosing Sasha because so then Carmella could have another match with her. I'm sorry, Reginald, but Carmella had her turn. This match between Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair needs to be the main event of WrestleMania. Either night 1 or night 2, but almost likely to be night 1. But it should be a main event of WrestleMania, and both Royal Rumble winners picked SmackDown superstars. Yeah, but SmackDown's not the A show, right? But SmackDown's not the A show, according to some people. Oh, Alexa Bliss and The Fiend, they make Monday Night Raw the best show on the planet. Please, Monday Night Raw's garbage. And I love some of the people that are on that show, but Monday Night Raw is absolutely garbage. If Monday Night Raw was truly the A show, Edge would have selected the WWE Championship and Bianca Belair would have selected Asuka. SmackDown is the show. The show. So then we had the Street Profits take on the team of Sami Zayn and King Corbin. Now, I actually find this Sami Zayn Corbin thing hilarious. Listen, Sami Zayn is a great heel. He is great as a heel, and seeing him being paired with Baron Corbin, kind of makes me laugh in a way. Now that they've created another Team Hell No team, or The Bar, why do WWE create teams like this? Why do WWE always create these teams where, it's two superstars that don't like each other, but then they'll put them as a tag team, and then when they eventually become the tag team champions, they become really good friends. It was like that with Daniel Bryan and Kane. They did that with Daniel Bryan and Kane, with the whole Dr. Shelby thing. They did it with Sheamus and Cesaro. They had the best of 7 series, and then it ended in a tie, and then they became a tag team. Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler was the same thing. They didn't like each other. Now they're the tag team champions, and now they're like the bestest friends. They have no issue with each other. And now you're telling me they're gonna do the same thing with Sami Zayn and Baron Corbin? these two guys don't like each other. They become the tag team champions, and now they're going to become good pals. I don't understand why WWE do teams like this, but I'm not gonna. But hey, you know what? I'm not complaining. They need tag teams anyway. They need tag teams anyway. So why not just do Corbin and Sami Zayn together? Would have been cool to have Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn together, but you know, Sami's a heel, so, and Kevin is a babyface. So ultimately, I found this whole thing with Sami and Corbin pretty hilarious, and yeah, I thought this whole thing with Corbin and Sami was quite hilarious. Seth Rollins and Cesaro, they had a segment together, and it seems like Cesaro is going to be feuding with Seth Rollins, which that's cool. That's cool for Cesaro. Cesaro versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, that's pretty cool. Give Cesaro a big match at WrestleMania. To me, that's a solid idea. Cesaro and Seth Rollins, Cesaro beating Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, that sounds good to me. Especially if you're pushing Cesaro. That sounds good to me. And then our main event was Daniel Bryan versus Jey Uso. And that match ends in a double countout. And the stipulation was if Daniel Bryan won, he would get a championship match at Fastlane against Roman Reigns. And this match ended in a double countout. So Daniel Bryan didn't win, but he also didn't lose. And this leads to a beatdown with Roman Reigns beating the hell out of Bryan, giving him a spear and a guillotine. I was expecting Edge to kind of get involved here, because Edge was on this show. He was... Would I say he was complaining? Would I consider what Edge was doing was complaining? He was a bit upset that Pierce and Sonya were giving Daniel Bryan an opportunity at the Universal Championship. Dude, if you're telling me that this is what they're going to be doing with Edge, and they're going to turn him into a bit of a dick, that other people are getting an opportunity before him, dude, you're getting your match at WrestleMania. And more importantly, you've been retired since 2011. You've been retired for almost 10 years, and then you come back and win the Royal Rumble, and you're going to have a bitch that other people want a shot at the Universal Championship? What do you expect? Shinsuke Nakamura is still owed his. Nakamura is still owed his Universal Championship match. After what Roman and Jey did to him. But anyway, Edge was on the show. He seemed upset. From where I was sitting, he seemed upset that Sonya and Pierce were giving Bryan an opportunity. Oh, poor Edge. Oh, poor Edge. Gone for 10 years and he expected to have everything handed to him on a silver platter. Poor Edge. But as I said, Bryan didn't win. It was a double count out. And Roman beat him down with a spear and a guillotine. So that was pretty much the end of that. I'm pretty sure it's going to be leading to... I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting Bryan and Roman at Fastlane. I would much rather this at WrestleMania. Seriously, I would rather Bryan and Roman at WrestleMania. It'd be so much better than having to deal with stupid Edge. It is so... Bryan and Reigns at WrestleMania is just such a better match idea than just Roman Reigns and Edge. I'm sorry. Well, actually, no, I'm not sorry. If you guys are offended over that, then I don't care. But, oh man, I would just so rather Bryan and Roman at WrestleMania than Edge and Roman Reigns. But hey, we can't do anything about it now. So anyway, guys, thank you all so much for joining me for this Smackdown review. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.